How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. So we will start on the Dixie for the daily. We did push down to our gapped area, so there is a chance that we could see a bounce here, and that bounce could end up making crypto drop down. Remember, they are usually inversely related, so if Dixie is about to go up, crypto probably will go down. RSI is pulling back, our stochastic is pulling back. That VWAP does have a lower low. Momentum is breaking down with that red dot as that VWAP pulls back, so watch that VWAP close. If it continues lower, we're likely going to sell off, but I would watch for some reversal indicators. Over on the 4-hour here, our RSI is heading down, stochastic's pulling back. Momentum is favoring bearish, money flow is pulling back. We did get a long upper shadow candle, so that did show we have further bearish momentum coming. We saw a little bit of a sell-off, so I would watch for a strong green candle. If we start getting strong green candles like back here, then we may be able to push forward and make a rounded bottom. Over on the 2-hour, we are trying to see that push forward. RSI is flat, stochastic is trying to remain oversold, so I would watch as stochastic, if it does not bounce, will cause RSI to continue to drop. VWAP is trying to break that neutral, so watch it close. If we can break through and hold bullish, momentum will push up, money flow will gain strength, and we could push forward. Over on the 1-hour, RSI is trying to head up, stochastic wants to bounce. Momentum and money flow are pushing forward, and that VWAP's nowhere to be found. Watch that VWAP very close. If it rejects this neutral, we will break down. However, if we get higher highs and higher lows here, we will push forward and see Dixie push up. Remember, that would usually bring crypto down. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the day, we are seeing a little bit of a reversal. We did reject our EMAs. This is a long upper shadow candle, so watch for a red candle. If we see a red candle, we could end up dropping just like back here. RSI is pulling back. Momentum does want to break as that VWAP is favoring bearish, so I would watch that. We'll start to weaken our money flow. Over on the total for the daily, we are trying to bounce off that 300 EMA. This could be positive. This is an indecision candle, but we do have a bounce off that EMA after getting a retest, so this does look pretty positive. Our altcoins are doing better than our Bitcoin, at least relatively speaking. Some are down, but most are up. That's why total is up, because it's the market cap of all of them besides Ethereum. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP is staying bullish with a higher high. That is positive. Momentum is gaining strength, and that money flow does want to push up. So we do look positive here. Over on the 4-hour, momentum is starting to round away. Stochastic's pulling back. RSI is starting to round with lower highs, so I would watch. That VWAP did break for a higher low, so I would watch. If we break and get a higher high, we could continue our bullish trend, continue forward. But if that VWAP rejects our neutral or gets a lower high, we're likely going to make a push to the downside. Over on the 2-hour, we did retest our 300 EMA. We tried to break it, then we got above it and continued forward. We did get a bounce on this previous candle, so I would watch. We need some bullish momentum and a higher high here. If we can get that, then we may push to our 602 area and continue along our double bottom possibility. Momentum is pulling back. VWAP is favoring bearish. Watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP rounds away here, we would get a lower high that could end up breaking us down and causing momentum to weaken and bring money flow lower, which would in turn weaken price and potentially break that EMA. Over on the 1-hour, RSI is flat, stochastic's running up. VWAP is bullish, but we have lower highs. Watch it very close. If we get a lower low, then momentum will round away, money flow will weaken, and our total would retrace. However, if this VWAP can stay above this neutral and continue forward with this higher high, getting higher highs and higher lows from here, momentum will continue forward, and we will have the potential to strengthen higher time frames. So watch that VWAP very close. We do have that bounce on the 2-hour, so that does have us at least in a bullish scenario there. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we could still have our 50-50 pattern. We technically broke up if you're talking about on Bitcoin. We will cover that shortly though. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is flat. VWAP is bullish, but it's going flat, so I would watch. Momentum is pushing up and money flow is flat, so I would watch that VWAP. It needs to gain further strength to help run us up on price. Over on the 4-hour, stochastic does have that bearish cross that did bring us down. Momentum is breaking down. VWAP is bearish and money flow is starting to round away, so I would watch that VWAP. If we get lower lows and lower highs, we will continue lower. Over on the 2-hour, we hit our 300 EMA and we got rejected. Remember, that's that critical support resistance, so we got rejected by it. and we could see lower highs and lower lows. If we start seeing lower highs and lower lows from here, I would watch for that gap to fill below us, and then a potential break of the 57. If we're able to bounce on that gap, we could continue forward, but if we break that 57, remember, we will push to 52. Our stochastic is pushing down, momentum is rounding away, VWAP is favoring bearish, but we're trying to push up. That VWAP is starting to round though, so watch for a lower high. If we get a lower high with consistent lows, momentum will break down, money flow will break down, and those higher time frames will lose strength. Over on the 1 hour, we did come up to our EMAs as well, got rejected. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is rounding, money flow is selling off. That VWAP did break bullish, but it's very weak, so I would watch. If we fall back into the bearish territory, then fail to reclaim bullish momentum, our momentum will round away, money flow will break down, flip into the red, and we will see further sell-off. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, so you see, we got our full bullish break up. So if you saw that from last night and you capitalized on it, good for you. But again, you want confirmation. Your confirmation really didn't come too well because we just propelled forward, shot up, and then we crashed back down. That's an example how when you get a quick move up, you get that quick move down. Now, that being said, we did try to hold our pattern. Just before we started the video, it did look positive that we would make a bounce and continue forward. But now we're coming back into our pattern. This would be where the bears may gain control. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is rounding, money flow is pulling back, that VWAP is struggling, and momentum is favoring bearish. So if that VWAP does not stay bullish here, we will see momentum bring money flow lower, and those higher time frames will get weaker. We'll cover the 4 hour and the daily real quick. Over on the 4 hour, we're pulling back into that pattern, got that rejection of that retest, so I would exercise caution if we hold in this pattern. Stochastic does have that bearish cross, bringing RSI down. Momentum is breaking down. VWAP is starting to fall bearish, so I would watch. If we get lower lows and lower highs from here, that will bring momentum lower and cause money flow to sell off, which would in turn weaken the 4 hour and the daily. The daily isn't on very strong ground. That VWAP is bullish, but that money flow is bearish, so watch lower time frames close. If they start favoring bearish, we could easily see this daily reverse. So now we'll go back into our regular swing over on graph. We did try to push forward, again rejecting the bullish scenario. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is trying to push forward, VWAP is bullish, momentum is pushing up, and that money flow does want to gain strength. We are holding our support area, but I would exercise caution and just watch for a breakdown. We are coming down to retest with a potential long upper shadow candle, so if we break the support in the next couple candles, we could see the bears gain control and invalidate that break up. Stochastic does want to pull back, momentum is rounding, RSI is starting to sell off, money flow is pulling back, and that VWAP is getting consistent lows, so watch for lower highs. If we get lower highs, our momentum will start to weaken, and money flow will follow, and we will see a sell-off. Over on the 2 hour, we do have lower highs, momentum is pulling back, money flow is bullish, that VWAP is under the neutral, so I would watch. We are starting to favor bearish, so if we get lower lows and lower highs from here, momentum will break, money flow would break, and we would have the chance to break that support level. Over on our 1 hour, we did reject that 300 EMA, so this could be a confirmation of that break. We came up, filled the gap, and then rejected after filling our gap. That gap would have been our hope to continue forward. If we break this support in the next couple candles, then it's likely we could invalidate our pattern. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is selling off, VWAP is breaking bearish. I would watch. That was a very weak high, so if we see consistent lows, momentum will round away, that red dot will cause it to break down, and money flow will go from green to red, weakening those higher time frames over time. So over on Ankr for the daily, we did kind of whipsaw around here as well. We have that indecision candle, tried to break resistances and got rejected. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is pushing forward, VWAP does want to run up, momentum does look positive, and money flow is gaining strength. Again, watch lower time frames though. Over on the 4 hour, we came up to that 2673 and we got pretty quick rejection. I would watch for a lower high. If we get a lower high followed by a lower low that does not connect, we could create a bearish continuation that could end up dropping us down to that 2338. Momentum does want to push down, stochastic is selling off, RSI is pulling back, VWAP does have lower lows and lower highs, causing momentum and money flow to weaken. If that continues on lower time frames, we're likely going to see a breakdown. Over on the 2 hour, if we do see our breakdown, we could fill this lower gap first, then we would propel forward to fill that higher gap at a later date, because remember, they have an 80% likelihood to fill. RSI is weakening overall as that stochastic pulls back, momentum is selling off, VWAP is favoring bearish, and the money flow is holding bullish. But if that VWAP rejects here, momentum will break down and money flow will follow. Over on the 1 hour, we did hold our 300 EMA, but we're kind of whipsawing all over, filling gaps, so we do look decent on the 1 hour. I would just watch for a retracement to our blue EMA, then we could fill our higher gap and continue up. But if we retrace that EMA and break, then that's where we would push to our 300, and if we do not hold that, we could see our lower low with that lower high, causing that bearish continuation. RSI is overall weakening, stochastic wants to push up, VWAP is trying to push forward, momentum is gaining strength, and that money flow is bullish. Watch that VWAP though. That VWAP isn't very strong despite us getting higher highs and higher lows. If that VWAP reverses and cannot get above that neutral, we could easily retrace our gains. Over on XRP for the daily, we are coming down toward our EMAs here as well. Another indecision candle. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is going flat. Momentum is pushing up. Money flow is starting to flatten out. So I would watch that VWAP very close. Looks like we're having some issues here. So let me know if you're still around. But over on the 4 hour, we are starting to lose some strength. Momentum is rounding. Stochastic is pulling back. VWAP is breaking bearish. I would watch if that VWAP continues down, momentum will continue lower and money flow will break. That would result in price action breaking. We do have a potential for some sort of a flag here, pending if we can get a consistent high. We really don't have consistent highs. Our lows are pretty consistent, but we don't have the highs to make a bull flag, at least not in my opinion. Over on the 2 hour here, we are trying to break our EMAs. So again, watch for those EMAs. If we break them, we will push to our 57. Our stochastic is starting to round away. RSI is pulling back. VWAP does want to pull back. Money flow is starting to sell off. So I would watch that VWAP close. If it continues to pull back here, momentum will continue lower and our money flow will break down. Over on our 1 hour, we are struggling to stay above that yellow EMA. I would watch if we break it, we could get a lower high with lower lows, creating a potential bearish channel. VWAP did break bullish, but did not hold very strong, and we are starting to see a push into the bearish territory. If this continues, momentum will continue to weaken, money flow will flip from green to red, and we will start to see a trend reversal. If that holds for several hours, then that will start to weaken higher time frames. Last but not least, unless we have requests, I'll try to watch for them again. Stochastic does want to round away. RSI is pushing up, but if our stochastic breaks, our RSI will follow and lead price lower. VWAP is pushing up, momentum wants to break bullish, money flow is pushing up, and we do have a bullish cross on those EMAs, but again, I would exercise caution. Over on our 4 hour, we are struggling to break that 250 EMA, that gray one, so if we cannot break and hold, it's likely we could round away early. Stochastic does want to pull back, momentum has a double red dot, VWAP is trying to break bearish, getting a lower high. Watch for a lower low. If we get a lower low or can't get above this neutral, we will see momentum weaken and bring money flow lower. However, if we push up and get a stronger high, we could continue. That doesn't look too likely, at least on that 4 hour. Based on the 2 hour, momentum is weakening, money flow is pushing up. That VWAP is trying to make a lower high, so I would watch it's trying to round just under that neutral. If that happens, we could see the bears gain control, push us to that 300 EMA, and try to break us down. Over on the 1 hour, last but not least, since we have no requests there, RSI is pulling back, stochastic is rounding, momentum is rounding with a red dot. VWAP did break bullish, but it's not very strong and starting to pull back, so I would watch very close. If our VWAP does not make a higher low with a higher high next, then we will potentially see a break to the downside that would lead this time frame weaker and start to weaken higher time frames. Remember, lower time frames lead higher time frames. Thank you all for watching. Have a great night.